President. Hello, everyone. My name is Brooke Rollins. Let's see lots of friendly faces in the crowd and other faces. I am the President and CEO of the America First Policy Institute. Before we founded, along with our chairman, Linda McMahon, and Larry Kudlow, the America First Policy Institute, I had the honor and privilege of working for President Donald Trump as his domestic policy advisor in the White House. My most important title, though, isn't any of those. Whatever my role, I am an American first. A wife, a mother, a daughter.
Okay, so this is some sort of Trump press conference where he's going to announce he's suing Facebook or announce his own app or something, maybe healthcare. Maybe we're finally getting healthcare. I don't know. But anyway, somebody else, this is at Bedminster, his golf course, and he's having some sort of press conference. And for some reason, C-SPAN is covering it.
Write your memoirs, maybe sign a Netflix deal. That's what most presidents do, but of course, what most presidents do has never described Donald J. Trump. People who love Donald Trump and,
work and stuff.
He makes history, and he's making history again today, as you'll hear from him shortly.
It's a tease.
But the president would agree with me when I say that focusing on him today misses the point. Back during his presidency, I remember him saying more than once that in reality, they're not really after me. They're after you and the America we know and love, and I am just standing in the way.
They're not after me.
There's no topic on which they, the elites, the big firms, the progressives, the office holders, and the bureaucrats, there is no other topic that they are seeing as a bigger obstacle to achieve their ambitions than the First Amendment. The First Amendment, the bulwark of our liberties, is what enables us as citizens to resist them at every turn.
No.
The First Amendment truly stands between them and us.
Against the elites?
When they try to tell us what to read,
it only stands between government and us.
It's in their way.
It's
when
Congress.
When they try to tell us what to think, the First Amendment gets in their way.
No, it's got nothing to do with
thinking. When they try to tell us what to believe, the First Amendment gets in their way.
It does not.
And when they try to tell us with whom to worship, with whom to associate, with whom to congregate, and with whom to be friends,
only
the
government.
First Amendment gets in their way.
Only government.
It's no surprise then that they want the First Amendment gone. They don't advocate for abolition, of course.
No one is asking to abolish the First Amendment.
But they do advocate for curtailing it into meaninglessness. Nowhere is that more evident than in the suppression of First Amendment rights online.
Everybody is pro-First Amendment.
In just a minute, the president will talk about this and what he intends to do.
He's going to sue Facebook.
It's enough for me to say this. What was just a decade back a mere fiction,
the former
paranoid
president,
dystopia, a handful of technology companies effectively seizing control of the American public square.
Is he going to announce that he's also got his own platform? Is that what's going to happen?
Reality.
Is it get her done?
Against them, this president fights for you.
Hi, Allison.
As he always has and as he always will. Ultimately, the issue at hand is the same issue that has gripped the nation since the day almost exactly 6 years ago when Donald Trump made his famous escalator ride into history, becoming candidate Trump and then nominee Trump and then President Trump. The issue
and then
is
former
simply
President
this.
Trump.
It was then, it is today.
Former President
Who
Trump.
rules in America?
Hi, Denise.
Is it a handful of
I think this is an
unaccountable
attorney,
and
but I don't know.
elites who concoct and enforce standards arbitrarily? If so, we should pack up the American experiment, call the American dream done, issue aristocratic titles, and be done with the charade.
I don't think we need that.
Or are the rulers of this country still the people? The democratic citizenry, the men and
We're
women
not a
who
democracy.
do honest work every single day and ask only for a fair and equitable treatment in return. We need that answer.
That's two
things. This country just finished an Independence Day celebration where we talked about and celebrated everything we have been and everything we have meant as a country.
Looking around,
for the sake of
waving his body,
Independence
cannot
Day,
stand still,
for the sake of future
always
American
rocking
generations,
himself.
We must fight for the people's rule.
That's a comfort
That's
factor,
what
by the way.
Donald Trump is here to do, and that's what he's always done.
Okay.
Please help me welcome President Donald J. Trump.
Former president, but okay.
Thank you very much.
Adjust the mic needlessly. Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
No reason to do it. Up and
I
down.
just want to say
Control
that
issue.
I stand before you this morning to
You do.
announce a very important and very beautiful, I think, development for our freedom and our freedom of speech.
Suing someone is
And that goes to
beautiful.
all Americans.
Uh-huh.
Today, in conjunction with the America First Policy Institute, I'm filing as the lead class representative a major class action lawsuit against the big tech giants, including Facebook, Google, and Twitter,
Okay.
as well as their CEOs, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, and Jack Dorsey. Three real nice guys.
Sundar Pichai. Cannot say a name
We're
normally.
asking the U.S.
He's reading it from a
District
teleprompter.
Court for the Southern District of Florida to order an immediate halt to social media companies' illegal, shameful censorship of the American people, and that's exactly what
It's not illegal, by the way.
we're demanding.
The First Amendment has
an end
nothing to do with
the
private corporations.
Shadow banning, a stop to the silencing, and a
Sundar
stop to the
Pichai.
blacklisting, banishing, and canceling that you know so well. Our case
I do. I'm demonetized
will
right now.
prove this censorship is unlawful, it's unconstitutional,
It's
and
not.
it's completely un-American.
It's
We all
that's
know that.
not what the First Amendment says. Congress.
Filing also seeks injunctive relief to allow prompt restitution and really restoration, and
That was
you can
a
name
tough word for
many
him.
other things
Really,
that has to be done
restoration
because it's
and
destroying our
and
country.
restoration hardware
Of my accounts,
from
in
Sanjay
addition, we are
Gupta.
asking the court to impose punitive damages on these social media giants. We're going to hold big tech very accountable. This is the first of numerous other
He
lawsuits.
has to
I
read this
will
off a
follow.
teleprompter.
This is the lead, and
I could do this. I don't even know what he's going to say. I could do this without a teleprompter.
country. It will be a pivotal battle.
A
in
what?
the defense of
I can't
First
rewind at
Amendment,
C-SPAN.
And in the end, I am confident that we will achieve a historic victory for American freedom and at the same time, freedom of speech.
Okay, but it's Congress shall pass no law respecting an establishment
So
of
I want
religion.
to thank all of
Congress,
the exceptional
not
legal
Facebook.
team behind this effort. In particular, John Cole. We have a lot of the tobacco lawyers. You know, I said, who are the best lawyers? Well, the tobacco lawyers seem to do a very good job, so I figured let's see if they
Yeah.
want to do it. And they really
Okay,
want
that's
to
his
do it.
defense.
We have great talent.
We have a lot of the
We also want to
baristas
thank
that served
Brooke Rollins,
the
who's an
Nazis
outstanding
in
person,
Nuremberg. Some of the best. I asked, who are the best lawyers of all time?
that nobody saw, and she's done it very quickly, together with Linda McMahon, a tremendously successful woman who did an incredible job. in the
Oh my
administration.
God.
One of
The
best.
tobacco
And
lawyers.
everyone at the America First Policy Institute for their support of this vital initiative.
I think that's Stephen Miller's
From the very
deal.
beginning of our nation, freedom of speech has
Wow.
always been understood as a bedrock of our liberty and our strength.
Especially when it came to
America,
NFL players.
We recognize that the freedom to speak our minds and express the truth, that is our
Or to kneel down
heart. Really, that's really
in the name
a
of
big
social
chunk
justice,
of our
to
heart.
protest in the
It is our
streets
heart.
against social
Not
injustice.
granted to us by government. It's given to us by God, and no one should have the power to take that right away.
Well, no, just Congress. Government shall not have the power. But private corporations can do as they please.
Founding fathers inscribed
Liberty,
this right
liberty.
in the very first amendment to our Constitution because they knew that free speech is essential to the prevention of horror
You read that word wrong.
and to the preservation of
Preservation.
our republic.
He read preservation as
But
prevention.
remember the words, the prevention of horror, because
No,
we're very
that's not
close
what the
to
word
seeing
was.
that now
Preservation,
in our country.
prevention
We've
of
never been
horror.
in a position like this,
He's
and it's
so
all
bad at
happened
this.
very quickly.
Uh-huh.
In the words of the father of our country, although some would like to take that title away from him, George
Okay.
Washington, he will
Uh-huh.
not be canceled. if freedom of speech,
Yeah, let's not cancel George Washington, everyone.
if freedom of speech may be taken away, then dumb and silent, we may be led like sheep to the slaughter.
Okay.
Pretty well-known phrase, and so true. Unfortunately, today, this fundamental American right and liberty is under incredible threat and attack by a lot of different sides. But we are the majority side by a lot. I believe we are the majority side by far more than anybody would understand. You just have to take a look at what happened in recent elections.
I mean, there's numbers.
Add up the right numbers, you will see a majority.
Oh, you add up
like
the
you
right
wouldn't believe.
numbers.
Because nobody can believe what some of the things that are being said are. Nobody believes that.
I don't believe anything
Social
you say.
media has given extraordinary power to a group of big tech giants that are working with government,
Like
the
lambs to the
mainstream
slaughter.
media, and a large segment of a political party to silence and suppress the views of the American people.
Which is not free
And they've
speech.
been very, very successful at that.
Uh-huh.
Not in all cases, but
Congress.
in many cases, totally successful. While the social media companies are officially private entities,
Yes.
in recent years they have ceased to be private with the enactment and their historical use of Section 230, which profoundly protects them from liability.
It's not what the
Once they
teleprompter
got
says,
Section
and
230, they're not private companies anymore.
They are
in
private
a lot of
companies.
views.
they are, they
No
are
other
private
companies in our country,
Private public companies, but they're not
and
government.
even in our country's history, have had protection like this.
This is ridiculous.
It's, in effect, a massive government subsidy.
No.
These companies have been co-opted, coerced, and weaponized by government and by government actors to become the enforcers of illegal, unconstitutional censorship.
Nope, that's
And
not
that's what it
unconstitutional.
is at the highest level.
Only Congress.
Censorship and so many other things that perhaps
So many other
are
things.
even worse.
Okay, well then why don't you
And
sue
you'll
for
be
those?
seeing that in this lawsuit as it wells its way through the courts. We've all seen Democrats in Congress haul the CEOs of these companies before their committees and attempt to threaten them,
Republicans.
bully them, and intimidate them like nobody has been intimidated.
Okay.
But they made a deal. They all get along very nicely now. Thank you very much. Congress
And
has
so now you're going to sue them?
repeatedly
To intimidate
told
them?
big tech that if they do not silence Democrats' political opponents, ban prominent conservative voices, I wonder who that would be, and restrict what the left ominously labels as disinformation, and they are the greatest disinformation group of people ever in the world.
Are they?
As an example, just recently, now they're saying...
Not the Nazis?
We never said
Not the
defund
Chinese
police.
Communist
We wanna
Party?
fund
Not the
police.
Soviets?
They looked at poll numbers at 85% against them. No, we want to take care of the police. They don't. They want to defund the police.
No,
And they'll
Joe
say
Biden has
it
never wanted to defund the police.
thousands and thousands and thousands of times. And by the end of 12 months, you'll all be saying, oh, they love the police. They don't love the police. They actually hate the police.
Even the police?
For whatever reason, and it's just a terrible thing. And so many other things. They're changing their views on so many other things. And they just say the opposite. They don't even go to anything. They just all in unison. A lot of the people sitting right before me understand exactly what I'm saying.
What?
They say it right before you, that we want to do this, we want to do that. It's the exact opposite of what they've been saying. Or
What is he
the very,
even
probably
thinking?
the most famous of all, Russia, Russia, Russia. Trump
Right?
loves Russia. He loves Russia. He loves Putin. He loves Russia.
Yeah. He gave you
And
soccer
that went
ball.
on for 2 years, and some people believed it.
Right, because it was
But
true.
we are going to look so closely, and we're going to make sure that the liability protections
Are you
that
gonna
they
look
have under
strongly,
Section
though?
230 is at a very minimum changed, and maybe at a maximum.
But by the way,
taken
you
away.
can't sue to
The
change
Supreme
230.
Court has made it exceedingly clear that Congress is not allowed to coerce private entities into doing what Congress does, and they're not allowed to do it.
What?
The lawful authority is just not there. They can't do it.
What is
they
he
bully and they
saying?
coerce. Yet that's exactly what's taking place every single day. It's a flagrant violation of the Constitution.
What?
Going on before our very eyes. And I hate to say this, but they do it with the Supreme Court, too. They play the refs. They play the refs.
What?
They talk about all sorts of things they're going to do to Supreme Court justices. We're going to impeach him. We're going to impeach him. We're going to impeach him. And then,
Okay.
lo and behold, all of a sudden, different decisions come out. Or we're going to enlarge that court to a level that nobody can believe. We are going to take
can believe
that
it.
court and we're going to enlarge it.
We're going to balance it, yeah.
We're going to have 16. We're going to have 20.
Haven't heard
We're gonna-
16.
I saw one the other day. We're going to have 24 justices.
I haven't seen that.
And I
but
guess
okay.
things happen because all of a sudden decisions
Oh, things do
come
happen.
out.
That is true.
They play the ref. They play the ref better than Bobby Knight has ever played the ref. And we can't let that happen. And hopefully
He's throwing
the Supreme
chairs.
Court justices
He's
and
throwing
other
chairs.
judges and justices, they stand up for our values. And they don't
Okay.
let that happen. In
Unless they
addition,
disagree with you.
in recent years, we have also seen increasing coordination between big tech giants and government agencies such as the Centers for Disease Control, where so much was wrong,
What?
so many things could have been different, but big tech happened to choose the wrong side, and they banned the right side. For example, YouTube's policy explicitly forbids contradicting, quote, health authorities.
Right.
You know the health authorities. Fortunately, I overrode the health authorities quite a bit. There
No?
was a lot of good decisions made.
No?
If I didn't, we would have been in much bigger trouble, like you see other countries.
600,000
right now are
dead.
Still in very,
Still the
very
worst
big
on the
trouble.
planet. By far.
Through such coordination, the federal government has essentially
He's in Bedminster.
deputized social media platforms to become the de facto censorship arm of the U.S. government, which is exactly what's happened. This was especially clear during the pandemic when social media giants began censoring information according to guidance by the CDC,
Yeah.
which, as
Was your
we
CDC.
now know,
Which was your CDC?
was very often incorrect or wrong.
Which was your CDC?
This censorship
Incorrect
is yet
or wrong?
another blatant violation of the Constitution.
Nope.
There's so many
not.
violations of our Constitution, and
It's
you'll
not
see
a con-
that
it's not-
in
it's
the Senate,
Congress
which will
only. The
also be
First
added
Amendment
to.
applies to
There's other
Congress.
Things are happening on
Not
a
to
daily
Facebook.
basis that will be added as we go along. Consider just some of the information that has been censored in America over the past
Thomas.
year. Until recently, Facebook had a policy to eliminate all posts sharing evidence that the horrible virus emerged from China. They said it didn't emerge from the Chinese lab, Wuhan. Remember,
We
I
don't
said
know.
Wuhan, and it was like a bomb went up. Wuhan came
Right.
from the Wuhan lab. Of course, there were body bags all outside the lab. Nobody ever mentions that. I wonder why. They said it came 1,000 miles away from a bat, or it came from another country. They tried
No.
to blame Italy. They tried to blame us.
No, you're trying to blame
But
Italy
they
for
gave
the
that
election.
one up. That was also misinformation.
What?
But then it was finally revealed that this was most likely the truth, that it came from the lab. And it was a small little story.
We don't know
When
the
I
truth.
said it, it was like a weapon went off, a major weapon. I won't
Yeah,
use
you just said a bomb went off, but
the
okay, a
word
major weapon went off.
because I never use the word nuclear, but we have to be careful with our leadership, because if we don't have the proper leadership, we're in a very perilous state. So we don't use the word nuclear. I never use it, okay? Never use it. I never
He uses
said
nuclear
it.
all the time.
That's called disinformation.
What?
Google and YouTube have deleted countless videos that dared to question the judgment of the World Health Organization, which has been wrong so often. It's been a really pipe organ for China, as most of you know. Calling
What?
those videos misinformation, including videos that consist of clear scientific fact. Doctors and medical groups have been barred from these platforms for
Verbal
posting
kitty litter.
about therapeutics such as hydroxychloroquine. Huh, that's a familiar name. Which now, most recent studies say, is effective in combating the virus. 3 cents a pill. The drug companies don't like 3 cents a pill. 3 cents a pill is what it costs. But recent studies have come out very strongly in favor. Twitter has censored users simply for using the term illegal alien, which it
Speaking of
has
terms,
labeled
I
as
can't
hateful
find anybody
content.
using the term pipe organ.
and just taking you off.
The WHO
for
is a
whatever
pipe
reason.
organ for China.
You have to see the sentence they took me off for. It's the most loving sentence.
A
It's
megaphone?
really
What did he
amazing.
mean?
They could have done better, because I've had a lot worse. I mean, I couldn't believe that was the reason. Take a look at it. You know exactly the sentence I'm talking about. It's become very famous. People are saying, really?
What?
Even the other side said, really?
I missed that. Sorry,
And of
guys.
course, there is no better evidence that big tech is out of control than the fact that they banned the sitting president of the United States earlier this year.
Yeah.
A ban that continues to this day.
After you encourage
Continues.
violence.
So we get the word out, but it's not a fair situation. Very,
Aw.
very bad for this country.
Oh,
very
it's
bad for the
unfair.
world. If they can do it
It's
to
bad
me,
for
they
the
can
world.
do it to anyone. And in fact, that is exactly what they're doing. They're taking
Yeah.
people off who don't even realize they were taken off. They have
Okay.
no idea why they were taken off.
There's private
But
corporations.
what they're doing is incredible and incredibly dangerous.
It's annoying. but it's
Joining
not
us
dangerous.
this morning are just a few of the many Americans who have been illegally banned or silenced under the corrupt regime of censorship.
Corrupt regime
These brave
of
patriots
censorship.
are included in the lawsuit, and thousands more are joining as we speak. Thousands more. They're all wanting to join.
Oh, I want to
will
join this
be, I think,
lawsuit.
will go down as the biggest class action ever filed. 'Cause
Really?
Thousands of people want to join.
Okay.
Jen Horton is a school teacher from
How do we join?
Fenton, Michigan. Earlier this year, she was kicked off Facebook for sharing a post questioning whether young children should be required to wear masks. She had a question, giving both sides, and actually not negative, just giving both sides. That was enough. At the same time, as Jen was deplatformed, her brother had gone missing, and she was unable to get the word out to all of her followers. She had a lot of followers. Could not get the word out. And Jen, I want to thank you very much for being here and stepping forward. Takes a lot of courage. Would you like to come up and say something, Jen? Where's Jen? Jen, please.
I'm trying to find any stories about her.
I just appreciate the opportunity to be here with all of these amazing patriots, and I thank you, President Trump, for everything you're doing for us.
Thank you, Jen, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jen. Dr. Kelly Victory, I love that name. I would have gone with that name if I had the choice. Is a board-certified trauma and emergency specialist from Colorado, great person, who was asked by the pastor of a church to prepare a video about how to mitigate risks of the China virus to allow church services to safely resume. Just a question. Could you give us some information? The video was outrageously removed from Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, with horrible statements being made by them. Kelly, thank you for your bravery. Please say a few words. Thank you. Facebook delayed the flight. The flight's
guess she's not
delayed by
there.
4 hours. I wonder.
Okay.
I can't believe that. That's terrible. What they will do. All right. Thank you anywhere. Here he is landing, going into Europe, going into Newark.
She made a video saying
Kelly Kejuan
that
and
COVID-19
Bobby Michael
is less
are
dangerous than
angel
generally believed.
parents. Their precious son,
Social
Brandon,
distancing
was
is not
killed
necessary.
at just 21 years of age.
And wearing masks
by a
do more harm
twice
than good. That's
deported and
this
very
doctor.
violent illegal alien. He caused a very fatal collision. Something should have never happened. Since then, they have heroically launched their own deeply personal fight to draw attention to the dangers of illegal immigration. They helped push through Florida's ban on deadly sanctuary cities, and they are indeed deadly. And they continue to be strong advocates for border security and immigration enforcement. But they have been cruelly and unfairly banned from Twitter. Would you like to say a few words? Where are you? Would you please?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Cruelly banned from Twitter.
The fight for censorship must continue. We are in this. We will not allow
fight
our
for
nation
censorship
to be silenced.
must continue.
We stand together, and we thank you, Mr. President.
All right.
I see somebody running for office very soon.
Ha, because she said
That was
things.
great. Well, I want to thank you very much. It's really terrific. So we're in a
terrific.
fight. We're
Really
in a
terrific.
fight that we're going to win. We're in a fight that people want us to take on. So many people have said to me, please, sir, do something about big tech. Sue them, sir, sue them. And they've been saying it to me for a long time, but there has never been a better time to do it. Polling released by Scott Rasmussen, highly respected, shows that nearly 2/3 of Americans believe big tech companies should be required to abide by the First Amendment guarantee of free speech.
No, that's
And I think
it's
those numbers
Congress.
are low, very low. 68%
The
of
First
Americans
Amendment only
believe
applies to
social
Congress.
media companies should prioritize their fair treatment of every citizen over protecting themselves. They want people protected. They want people to have their voice. And an overwhelming majority believe that tech giants
does?
have become too powerful. They've crossed the line many, many times, and by far too much. The American people's birthright of freedom must prevail against big tech and other forces that seek to destroy it.
People can run their companies how they want to run their companies.
This lawsuit, we are standing up for American democracy.
No,
by
nobody is
standing up
forcing
for
these
free
people to be
speech
on
rights
Facebook.
of every American, Democrat,
He's suing
Republican,
Facebook.
independent, whoever it may be. This lawsuit is just the beginning. It's a very big suit
Is it?
with great lawyers.
Does it have your health care
I'll
in
let
it?
you know about that in about a year from now.
It's got the tobacco
I'll
lawyers.
change my mind,
So
but I don't think so. They've had a tremendous track record in doing good. We'll also take
No, when
this
they lose,
battle
it'll
to
change your
the
mind.
State legislatures, to Congress, and ultimately to the ballot box. And it will be a very popular one at the ballot box. I will
hi, Donald.
never stop fighting to defend constitutional rights and sacred liberties of the American people. I will never stop. I will now ask John Cole and Pam Bondi, two terrific people that love our country so
Great.
much, to step forward and discuss the suit. And then we'll take a few questions.
Pam
Thank you very
Bondi
much.
is involved. Okay. There's people off to the side too. I don't know what's going on.
He's taller than me. This suit is really about freedom of speech. And what it is, it's basic that freedom of speech depends on certain things. One is who decides what's hate, who decides what's misinformation.
The companies.
It's not a couple guys out in California. It's always been the Supreme Court for over 200 years, and I would
only
say
when it
they've
comes to
done a heck of
government
a job.
censorship.
We're taking this suit. We're going to prove that they are government actors.
They're not.
Therefore, the First Amendment does apply. And we think we will be victorious on that. We think that we're in the right area.
He's going to prove that Facebook is a government agency and Twitter is a government agency. That's what they're trying to prove here, which is nonsense.
For all you out there who are Democrats and liberals or whatever you are,
Devious
you're
liberal.
next. Now it's the conservatives, but as history
No,
shows
now it's
us,
me. Now
it
I'm
will turn
demonetized.
Maybe 5 years from now, maybe
They
3
don't
months
care.
from now, maybe 10 years, but you're next. So I would urge people from the other side of President Trump's political party to join us, because you can't have this going on. And one last thing. The most hated thing by all the Supreme Courts over all the years is called prior restraint. That means that you can't speak. Pentagon Papers is the famous case. You can't do this because we say so. So the Supreme Court hates this. They think it's the worst kind of censorship we have. And when this gentleman cannot go on and say what he wants to say, that's prior restraint every minute of every day until this thing gets resolved.
So Twitter and Facebook are not allowed to ban anyone. Here's Pam Bondi.
And I'm here not as part of that great legal team over there, but I'm very proud to be part of America First Policy constitutional litigation team. So I was here just to explain just a few things. And you know
We're
what
all
John
government
said,
actors.
This is about our Constitution. This isn't just for conservatives. This is for our media. This is for everyone out there about censorship. This is
Thank
for
you for
Democrats
working
and
for
even
me.
progressives whose speech should be protected under the First Amendment. If
Aw.
you recall, Tulsi Gabbard, she sued. Do you remember that? Tulsi Gabbard was censored when she was running for president, and so she sued.
And
you know, people say that they have immunity.
And she won?
They
So
mean
Facebook is shut
YouTube,
down now?
Facebook, Twitter, under Section 230. Well, here's where that's changed. Section 230 came about in 1996.
Right.
And it was an offshoot of the Decency Act to protect against children being exploited online.
No, it
That's
was
what this
protect
was
the
all
platforms
about. So
from
take
people
it back to
posting that and
96.
then being
How
responsible
many users
for
were
it?
there then?
'Cause
Probably
you
about
can't
20
control what your
million
users post.
on AOL. Right, President? 1996. Now, what do we have?
Trump has
Facebook,
never used
Twitter,
email.
We have billions worldwide.
Yeah.
So times have changed. The internet is flourishing.
Oh,
but
wow.
First Amendment
Is
still
it?
must be protected.
Have you guys heard of this
no
internet?
one could envision what was about to happen with the internet in our country now.
No, everyone
With
envisioned it.
Billions of users worldwide.
Right.
So that's why this is so important.
we all knew
And
this would
when
happen
you
'cause
have
the
Mark
internet's awesome.
Zuckerberg and others being called in front of Congress and being coerced and being questioned by all these congressmen, then you also have Mark Zuckerberg emailing with Dr. Fauci about COVID. And in fact, a lot of their emails that we received have been redacted, not just because of phone numbers, but because they were trading trade secrets. Things that they were, so a private company is communicating with the federal government,
Right.
and parts of that were redacted. So
Okay.
that makes them, they're not immune anymore. They are not immune
That's
anymore.
not how that
It was
works.
coercion, collusion, working together,
They're-
and
they're-
they cannot hide
That's
from
not
the
what
First
Section
Amendment.
230 is at all.
That's why this is
Section
so
230
very,
is so that
very
people
important.
can post things,
Even
and
Facebook's
Facebook can't get
board
sued for what
oversight board that
people
Mark Zuckerberg
post.
created. The oversight board came back and said
They're
there
not
were
publishers.
problems. There were problems, and it lacked consistently being applied to everyone by community standards. So that's why this is so important for us, for our future, for all political parties, for all human beings
How can you
around
be
the
a
world.
lawyer and
we believe in the
misunderstand
First
things
Amendment,
this
and America First policy will fight for
much
it. Thank
strongly?
you.
Strongly was the word I was looking for. How can you misunderstand things this strongly?
Thank you very much.
Adjust the
A
mic
lot of people
needlessly.
ask me about Dr. Fauci. I like Dr. Fauci. I actually get along with him great. But they said, why didn't you fire him? I said, no, he was good. He'd recommend something. I do the opposite, and we always turned out to be around.
We know that's not
Sir,
true.
Don't
We've
close
done the fact
borders
checking.
to China. We closed them very early. Get no credit for anything, but these are minor details.
I knew Prodigy was
Any
going to take off.
questions,
That's why I threw
Christina?
all my money in it. Questions?
Well, I chose you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. So what is the possibility of a settlement prior to trial? Because obviously any court ruling in your favor, and you've laid out a very compelling case, anything prior to a court ruling would certainly limit everybody else who's not in the class.
We're
What
not
possibility
looking
is
for a
that?
settlement. We don't expect a settlement. They fight, and they fight hard. They've never had anything like this, and they've never had a team of very attractive-looking people in every way. Look
Oh,
at
that's what makes it.
That's
The
quite
tobacco,
a
the
legal
attractive
team. It's
tobacco
like a picture.
lawyers. They've never
But
had
they
to
are
face
very
the
effective,
tobacco
much
lawyers.
more importantly, legal team. So we're not looking to settle. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're not looking to settle. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
So we were talking about privately held companies that have been censoring. What's your position on public broadcasting, NPR, who also seem to be filling the same kind of role for a certain
It's such a great question. They are terrible. They are terrible. And it's not only what they say, it's what they don't
NPR
say.
is terrible.
For instance, I was informed that there are record numbers of murders took place this weekend. Record numbers. They don't even talk about it on NBC and CBS.
They
and
do.
ABC and
It's constant.
NPR.
What are you talking about?
They don't talk about it. And
They
it's
do.
It's a big story. That's why the credibility of the mainstream media is the lowest it's ever been. Lowest it's ever been. And you know, I hate to take credit for this, but I'm very proud of the fact that I exposed them for what they are. They are terrible, terrible representatives of our country. They don't talk about crime. They don't talk about Chicago, where you
They
have
do. They talk about
260
crime and
people
violence
shot
and let's see.
this weekend. That's in Afghanistan. You know, we didn't lose one soldier in the last more than a year. And I will say that was
Right now,
largely because of me,
MSNBC
but
and
I
CNN
won't
are
take
one is
credit.
doing stories about
The
Chicago,
good news is I will never
and
be
the other
given
one is doing
credit either.
stories about Illinois.
But we haven't
which-
lost a soldier. Think of it.
Where Chicago is.
260 people shot in Chicago. Massive numbers of people shot in New York. And they don't prosecute these people. These are killers. They don't prosecute these people.
They do, in
They
fact,
have no
prosecute
prosecute. They only
shooters.
go after Republicans.
Oh,
It's a terrible thing
only
that's happening in our
Republicans.
country, and a very dangerous thing, and a very good question. Please.
They only prosecute Republicans in Chicago.
How do you fight the argument that these are private companies? They can
Yeah.
be as liberal as they want to be.
Well, they say that they're private, but they're no longer private. If they
Why?
gave up their Section 230 liability protection, I would go along with them. I'd say they're private. We'll open up other privates, and other privates will be opened up. I mean, I know that for a fact. because I'm
See,
involved
he's
in that.
foreshadowing his
But
own
I will say
app.
that they have Section 230. It's a liability protection, the likes of which nobody in the history of our country has ever received, just a small group. And
I mean, the gun
we're
lobby
not gonna stand for it, and
has
that
some
makes them,
pretty
in my opinion,
ironclad
very subject to
liability.
the kind of penalties that we're talking about, which is potentially, John, trillions of dollars. It's a number that the likes
No
of
one's ever
which
seen.
nobody's seen before. John,
Yeah, no one's
you
ever
might
seen
wanna-
trillions of dollars.
The Supreme Court over the years, especially,
No, privates are gonna open
has
up,
been
Tracy.
Very clear what you can and can't do as a private company, and they've done it all. There's mainly three reasons. The president has talked about the immunity. There's also the coercion by the Congress, congressmen, congresswomen, in the media and in testimony and in their tweets, and there's also the fact that this
Feedback.
law, when this law was passed, Zuckerberg was
Feedback.
in school. Okay?
Adjust the mic, dude.
It has served its purpose. It's the
Stand closer to the mic.
Now it has grown into this monster that Congress never intended. And the real bottom line is Congress cannot delegate what it can't do itself, and that's what they've done.
And, you know, we were
That's-
talking earlier
that's
about
nonsense.
when 230 was created in 1996, and really, I believe one of the main reasons was something we all care deeply about. But as a former Attorney General, getting
Congress
the
doesn't
sex
delegate
predators
anything with
off
230.
instantly. Yet today,
It's
there are
about
still, this may
immunity,
have come out during the congressional
delegation.
testimony, but there were over 16 million reports still of sex predators, of sex exploitation of children online, 45 million photos and videos that are allegedly
So
still
you're
out
suing
there.
the internet.
That's what they need to be focusing on.
Okay, so they only get to censor what you want them to censor. And
Thank you, Mr. President.
were president.
I think the timing of this is perfect, especially going to the midterms and looking ahead to 2024.
This is a great
Can you
question.
share your thoughts on the timing of it and how this decision,
Mr. President, this is
can
so
help
awesome.
protect
Can I ask you a
conservative
question from the
viewpoints
press?
as we move further to 2024 elections?
The timing just seemed to be right because they've been so abusive, so bad. What they've done, not only
I really
to the
wish I knew
President
who
of the
these
United
reporters
States, but
were.
to so many others. Hamas has a site. The greatest killers in the world have a site.
They have a
Never
website.
reprimanded. They're
So
never
you're
red
suing
flagged.
the
They're
internet.
nothing ever happens. The president, and you, again, get the quote. You won't believe it. But these people
What?
call for the destruction of Israel, the destruction of the USA. Nothing happens to them. And I just think it's become so flagrant.
That's right,
and
Chris.
so outrageous and outrageously ridiculous that this was a good
Outrageous
time.
and
Not having
outrageously
to do with
ridiculous.
The elections. I think this will go on beyond the elections. I would be surprised if it didn't. But I think it's a very important thing for our nation. Very, very
The sound is
important.
terrible on this because they
Yeah,
keep
please go
adjusting
ahead.
it up for the reporters and then not up for the speakers.
To clarify, who should be the arbiter of what's hate, what's offensive, what should not be published, what goes beyond free speech? And because so much of this, your banning, has to do with comments you made around January 6th, just to clarify further, what did you do to stop the insurrection, as some people call it, and why were you not able to stop it?
This is a real question.
That whole event, unfortunate event, just went through Congress and a report was issued and my name wasn't even mentioned. And I appreciate that. I was surprised, frankly, because I would have assumed that they would have come up with their typically biased, at least on the Democrat side, statement. The report came out, as you saw, 2 weeks ago. My name wasn't even mentioned. That was an unfortunate event. I say, though, however, people are being treated unbelievably unfairly.
It was a list of
When you look at
recommendations, by the way.
People in prison and nothing happens to Antifa, and they burned down cities and killed people. There were no guns in the Capitol. They burned, except for the gun that shot Ashley Babbitt, and nobody knows who that men were. If that were the opposite way, that man would be all over. He would be the most well-known, and I believe I can.
Trump
say
is mentioned 27 times in the
exactly
report.
who it is.
27 times.
But he would be the most well-known person in this country, in the world. But the person that shot Ashley Babbitt,
Support
boom,
the
right
blue.
through the head, just boom. There was no reason.
Shot
for
her on the
that.
shoulder.
And why
Just
isn't that
boom.
person
Yeah.
being
When she was
opened
breaking
up, and
into
why
the
isn't that
speaker's
being
lobby.
studied? They've already written it off. They said that case is closed. If that were the opposite, that case would be going on for years and years.
What?
and it would not
If
be
that was
granted.
the opposite, what are you
So I just
talking
thought
about?
this
The
was a
opposite
very
of what?
important time. Yeah, please go ahead.
If she
Go
had
ahead.
shot the cop?
Twitter, if you're successful in this, and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all the social media platforms let you back on and let everyone else back on uninhibited, the way that everyone's supposed to have access, would you use their platforms again?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I might not. You know, I'm in a different position because if I put out a press release, you know, I'm getting extremely good pickup. But that's me. The world, everybody.
He
that's
got rid of
getting
his blog.
famous, they can't put out a press release. People would say, "Who the hell is that?" Nobody's going to pick it up. And even myself, I could instantaneously get the word out. If somebody says a lie, like the fake media, I can at least give the opposing side, which I've been doing for 6 years. I used to get great publicity before I ran for office, okay? I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years where I can get a word out, an opposing word. Today you can't do that. They took away the rights of, in my opinion, the majority. I really believe it's the majority because people aren't for
But
all of
your
these
beliefs
things. Now
doesn't
they have
make it a
voter
fact.
ID. That's another one when you talk about voter ID. All of a sudden they love voter ID. They fought it vehemently. I noticed 2 days ago I watched a congressman, happened to be from South Carolina, say, "No, I've always been in favor of voter ID." Well, he hasn't because you look at his statement for the last 2 years. He's been vehemently opposed. But now they lie like nobody has ever lied.
No,
I
they
watched
don't
him
lie like
say,
you.
"I've always believed in voter ID, essentially." And I said, that's
So
unbelievable.
there's a conference about voter
Fortunately,
ID?
The particular
The question was
newscast
about Twitter,
had his statements
but
from before,
okay. Are you
which they
going
were
back
too
on
numerous
Twitter,
to
sir?
put up.
Well,
Put
it's
up
about
enough.
voter ID.
But the Democrats are now saying, because they saw it was an 88% positive issue, they're now saying...
Yeah, Trump won.
"We
That's why
believe
he's
in
the president right now.
Voter ID. We have to have voter ID. There isn't one Democrat in the country that said that. And in a year from now, the fake news will say they've always been on this side. It's amazing.
I
If
don't
you
know
say it
to whom
long
he's
enough,
pointing.
hard enough, often enough, people will start to believe it. That's what happened with Russia. That's what happened with Ukraine. That's what happened with, well, the worst is when they don't say it. Like
When what?
the laptop from hell.
Oh, Hunter.
You look at that thing, there's more criminal activity on that laptop than Al Capone had, if he ever had a laptop. Would like to give Al Capone one, but he was a baby compared to what I was able to see. Brooke, would you like
That's
to say
not
a few
true.
more words? Yeah.
One question, how can somebody join the lawsuit?
That's a good question.
That you can join the lawsuit by going to takeonbigtech.com.
Oh.
I did not plant that question, but I very much appreciate it. Takeonbigtech.com, and we really are looking for
Take on
the
Big Tech.
tens of
Join us
thousands,
Wednesday
hundreds
for
of
an
thousands of
announcement.
Americans. And let me just say one quick thing. It was a
You
great
can
question
donate
about
here.
the political ramifications of this lawsuit versus 2 years or 4 years, and certainly it will be part of the national narrative, I think, moving forward for the
There's
next
nothing
couple
here
of
to
years.
join the lawsuit.
But this effort really is about the battle for the future of
Wait.
this country. And when we lose
When you
the
click on
opportunity
Learn More,
to be part of a public discourse,
nothing happens.
whether as conservatives, as Republicans, as
When
libertarians,
you click on
as
Donate,
fighting against critical race theory, as questioning masks and whether our 11, 13, 15, and 16-year-olds, my children, should be forced to wear a mask all day, whether we're questioning
There we go. You
illegal
can
immigration
donate.
and how to use that. That's crazy, and it's not okay, and this is not America, and it is not the America that I know we all want for our children and our future grandchildren, and that's what this lawsuit is about. We have the best legal team in the country.
Now,
The
again, a
America
donate
First Policy
button.
Institute is partnering with them to ensure that
Learn
the word
more.
gets out, that we can truly, truly give our Americans who have
Nothing.
been censored, who have been compromised, who have been told that they don't have a voice. That will no longer be the case, so thank you.
Share
Thank you
your
all.
story. But there's nothing in here
I wanna
about how you
make
can
one
join the
thing.
lawsuit.
Gentleman asked who would decide what's hate speech. Who would decide this thing? For 200 years, over 200 years, it's been the Supreme Court. We can't let it be in the hands of unelected people or unappointed justices. But they have done such
I
a good
can
job
decide
for 200
what is hate
years
speech.
on
That's
this
the
issue.
freedom of being
We
an
don't
individual
need any
American.
panels. We don't need any oversight committees. We
You-
need
you
the
can too.
Supreme Court and the
Anybody on the
judicial-
planet
the
can.
judicial system to come into the 21st century.
All right, so I want to thank everybody. It's about 94 degrees out. I'm sorry to do this. It was supposed to be a beautiful day, and 72 and perfect, and it's a little bit hot. We're going to have refreshments, drinks. We'll bring you into the clubhouse if you'd like, but we'll take care of you because I see some of you are in serious trouble sitting there. I do hope I can leave you with two things. Number one, this is a very important lawsuit. This is a big time, long-awaited, very, very long-awaited. The complexity of
So
it, I
donate
guess,
money now
took a
to
longer
join the
period of
lawsuit,
time.
as Stephanie says.
Other litigants
Never heard
also
anywhere
wanna
where you
join
can
in with
you have to
us.
donate money to join a class
We have
action
great
lawsuit.
confidence
You
in the
don't.
courts, and we're going to see what happens. And the other thing, I just ask the mainstream media to go back and do on network news and everywhere else is please discuss the horrors of what's going on in our in all
Horrors was
cases,
a word he
Democrat-run
misread
cities.
earlier.
The hundreds and hundreds of people that are being killed on a weekly and monthly basis, so that people will do something about it. By you're not talking about it, you're not helping Biden. You're not
It
helping
happened
the
under
Democrats,
your
you're hurting the
administration
country.
too, and you didn't
So I
do
hope
anything
you can
about
go
it.
out and
Remember
just
the American
talk about
carnage?
the crime. Say 260 people were shot in Chicago.
100.
It's a stat put out by the city over the weekend.
No, 100.
There's no war that we lost that many and for a long time, and many people died, young people. And New York is a horror show. New York has the worst crime wave that they've had ever.
Nope.
And nothing's done about it except no bail. They let everybody out of prison. They just left almost 500 people out. They let them all out. They caused tremendous damage and harm and physical harm to other people and death. And they let them out. If the people don't hear this, you'll never be able to solve the problem. It's a problem like this country has never had. What's happened over the last 6 months in particular, and what's happening in certain
Not
cities,
during COVID. It has
is a
nothing to do with
horrible
your
thing.
policies
It's an
during
embarrassment
COVID.
to our country, but more importantly, it's just a horrible thing. The loss of human life on a weekly basis, and you turn
With
on
COVID?
these major
Is that what we're talking about here?
newscasts, a lot
Are we
of people
talking about
watching, and
like
it's
20
never
people
been
dying?
mentioned.
Because
You have to
600,000
change. You gotta
died
get
under your watch.
credibility back. You don't have the credibility. You have to get it back. I want to thank everybody very much, and we'll be seeing what happens. John, good luck. Pam, good
We will
luck.
be seeing what happens.
Everybody, Trish, I want to thank you for being so great. You're really fantastic. I appreciate it very much. You've been so incredible. Thank you. And thank you to everybody. Thank you very much.
All right. So the key speaker, he wanted to say something, is a doctor who does not have the credentials he says she has, and tried to put out a video on YouTube saying that the COVID wasn't as serious as everyone thought. So that was that. Nothing's going to happen here. There's absolutely no basis for this lawsuit. Section 230 is just to protect electronic companies who are open squares, town halls, whatever you want to call them. When someone posts something on Facebook and says we need to kill the president, or puts up kiddie porn or whatever, Facebook can't be responsible for that. They will delete it when they catch it, but the trouble is this is all instantaneous. And that's what Section 230 is there for, to protect them when some idiot posts something offensive or dangerous or whatever. You can't hold Facebook accountable for that. Now, YouTube is holding me accountable for broadcasting things that this idiot says as harmful. Okay, but that's YouTube's right. They're not Congress. Again, the First Amendment prevents Congress from making laws recognizing or abridging free speech, assembly, religion, etc., etc. But this is... No, I don't think Trump's even going to get a settlement out of this. If they offer him one, he'll take it. He's desperate for money right now. But that was that, folks. It's not the White House. He's not at the White House. This is Bedminster, but they made it up to look as White House-ish as they could. I want to say Bedminster did not have white pillars outside it. It is a very White House scene, but it is not the White House. Let's just look at pictures of Bedminster and see if they've added those pillars or they've painted those pillars white. There are lots and lots of pictures of Bedminster out there. Let's take a look. Bedminster Golf Club. Here we go. We'll go to images. And we want to go to images beforehand. Okay, so here's a picture. That is probably the entrance right there. That is from Town and Country. Let's see when that was from. That was from 2017. Let's see what those pillars used to be. So this is the clubhouse. He came out of the clubhouse. The history of President Trump, summer White House. Let's see, the summer White House. Okay, so that's been there forever. So yeah, the pillars have always been white. So that's not something that they made up, but the flags are new. They put the flags behind there, which Trump loves flags. So John DeLorean once owned the place. Interesting. Donald Trump bought it in 2000. The Red Brick Lamington House became Trump's clubhouse. Hold on, let's go back and look at Lamington House. So, was it still red today? Yeah, it's a brick house. Let's go back. Wait, are we even looking at the same house? Let's go back and look at... We can go back. No, we can't.
Homeowners, this incredible tip is...
Shut up. Let's see, we have to play this for 2 more seconds. Let me turn your volume down. Actually, I can get rid of the volume altogether. Okay, and skip ad. Is it there? There's nothing there yet. But the ad will play, but they haven't updated yet. And yeah, this is have they
Our
put
goal
on a new
is to
facade?
help people.
Have they changed Lamington House? Because it was brick. But that's what we were looking at, right, guys? So, but that's 1939. So part of it's brick, part of it's white. There's old pictures of it being white as well. So no, they didn't change that for that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so he picked it up around 2000. This is him in 2016. So it looked like that. Then, let's go back and look at more pictures of it just because I can't. Let's look at Lamington House. Different pictures of Lamington House. It's not a portico. And then these are just houses in Lamington. There's a Lamington. Oh, houses on Lamington Road, houses on Lamington Drive. So that's not helping us. Lamington House. Let's just go to Bedminster. Okay. Again, it's showing us a bunch of long shots. Lamington Farm, Trump. But there's really not that many pictures of it. Summer White House. This is local history. And this goes right back to the same article. All right, well, there you go. That's enough broadcasting for me so far. It's already 2.5 hours, and I'm still in my pajamas, so I'm going to let you guys go. So Trump is suing Facebook, and Trump got to be on C-SPAN again, so huzzah. Big success. We will talk to you guys later. Be good to each other, be good to yourself, and most importantly, be good to me.